from the Naylor House Studios in the heart of the 254. It's time for Connecting the Dots. Here's your host, Jeff Sanford.
Well, so glad to welcome you back here to Connecting the Dots. We always have the best guests. I just guarantee that's going to happen all the time, and today is no exception. All the way from Brownwood, well, maybe not all the way from Brownwood. Starting off there, a good friend of mine, but also a good friend to the songwriter and the performer, not only in Texas, but all across the nation. Please welcome Larry Joe Taylor.
Hey, Jeff.
How are you?
I'm great, man.
Man, it's so good to have you here. We've known each other a while.
We have. What year did you say we met?
I think we met in 2002, so 24
probably that sounds
years.
right.
Yep.
Wow, 24 years. Wow.
Yeah. God, you look younger than you did then.
Must have been two years old.
I was going to say, I think we were little kids then. You know, you came in because we had you had something already going strong, and you had thought of an opportunity to maybe move because it was so big. This great thing that a lot of people know you for, and that's the Larry Joe Taylor Texas Music Festival.
Yeah, we had been at Meridian for the last 5 years, I think, and outgrown it. We knew we were going to outgrow it, and Doug Montgomery was really our own sponsor. Well, we had Red Man Tobacco at one time, but Doug Montgomery, Techstar Ford, was kind of our own sponsor, and he says, "I'll up my sponsorship if we move it to Stephenville." And I think he gave me your number as the reason Zach and I came and talked to you. And then I remember when we met with the chamber, you know, and it was at the Bankman, and then me and Zach had to go outside, you know.
Yep.
I know you may have to go out too. I don't know if you were in on that meeting, but they called us back in. They said, "All right, let's do it."
Let's do it. That's right. Well, it was worth every bit of it. And we're going to talk a little bit about the evolution of the festival shortly, but I want to kind of backtrack a little bit. You know, you did grow up down the road a little bit here, mm-hmm. and I've always been curious about what little Larry Joe was like. You know, what got you interested in music to begin with?
I don't know. It just seemed like I always was drawn to music, radio, or, you know, some country music. But later on, I think the first time I heard Bob Dylan and the Beach Boys and the Beatles, it was like, I mean, this I've never heard anything like this. This is unbelievable. And that's kind of when I started picking up a guitar. Was during that time, I was probably, you know, 12, maybe not that old, but those, especially the Bob Dylan thing, was just an unbelievable influence for me to, and we had a band when I was in high school, and played all the sock hops. There was all the gymnasiums, you know, so you couldn't wear shoes in the gym, so they called them sock hops, and all the kids would come in there, and we played all the small towns, you know, out west of us, Coleman and Santa Ana and Bangs, and all of them. And it was a big deal for the kids to have a live band come in and play, you know, back in the 60s.
Did you play, what kind of music did you play at that time?
It was all cover stuff. We played a lot of Rolling Stones and a lot of Bob Dylan, and man, just a big variety. Whatever was on the radio, that, you know, we kind of we'd play that. I remember when Knock on Wood came out, was just, we had a couple of horns in the band too, and we seemed like 2 weeks learning that one song, you know, and we played it a couple of times, and it just didn't fit, just didn't fit us. So
now, did you teach yourself how to play?
Unfortunately, yes.
Well, that's all right. I mean, a lot of people do.
Well, I'm left-handed, and my brother got a guitar for Christmas, and I was probably about 9. He was 12, and so I, you know, sitting in the corner, and finally I'd been kind of messing with the piano. My aunt had a piano, and every time we'd go over there, I'd mess with it, and so I asked him. I said, I'd been reading about it. You'd change the strings around if you're left-handed, so I asked him, I said, can I change the strings on that guitar? And he says, no, I'm gonna learn how to play it. Mm-hmm. About 2 more weeks went by, he never picked it up, so I just picked it up right-handed and just went. I wish that I had learn to play left-handed because I feel like I'd be a better player. But I don't know, I was talking to Radney Foster the other day. He's left-handed, and he seems to think that he's a better player because he is left-handed.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, that's an interesting story. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
Well, it's really cool because I always thought it would be really neat to learn something besides the guitar when I was a kid because everybody else was learning the guitar.
Yeah.
I thought, how could I do something new and different? But I was reminded very early that it's hard to drag a piano out to the beach
It
and a
is.
campfire.
Yeah.
So, the guitar was kind of the thing.
Well, that's when you take up the accordion.
That's right. Little Dave Perez thing.
Yeah.
Well, the guitar is sort of the staple, it seems like, with singers and songwriters. I always have wondered, when you're writing a song, and you're such a good songwriter, do you come up with the lyrics first, or do you come up with the melody, the tune? What hits you first?
Every song's different. Normally, I like to have at least one good line to build a song around. Like a hook line. And then if you got a little part of a melody, just to start with, you can sit down pretty quick. The other thing, you always see guitar players, they got always playing a new guitar. Everybody's, guitar players or songwriters are known for that. And one reason is every guitar sounds different. You pick up a brand new guitar and you start playing it, and there's a song comes out of it. So you get, if you get, having a little trouble writing a song, go buy a brand new guitar, and one of them's going to either that or get a divorce.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
I always wondered when I got very interested in songwriting because of you primarily and some of the things you do. And it was interesting because in my head, because I don't play an instrument, it was the same melody, but the different words. The lyrics were not difficult for me. Getting that hook, getting the other thing, I just couldn't put it to a new tune, so they all sounded alike. And so, I wanted to have that new melody in my head.
Yeah, the melody sometimes. Well, good songwriters really, really concentrate on the melody. Novice songwriters follow the chords, and that doesn't make it a melody. I mean, a melody is anytime you put together 3 or 4 notes that are very distinct that you may not. I mean, there's not that many notes. You're working with basically 12 notes, including the sharps and flats, and so there is a lot of combinations, but there's not very many combinations that are pleasing to our ears. So you have to stay within the confines of what we know. You've probably heard songs that get away from that, and they're it's like you're like a dog when they do. Your head just goes to the side. So it's very limited, but there's still ways to make that melody stand out as a true original melody. So,
do you remember the first song you wrote?
I don't.
Did you start into songwriting when you were first performing with that band in high school, or was it a little bit later?
No, I had a couple of songs, but I don't remember any of them ever sticking for a long, long time. Back in the 60s, I'm not sure. Songwriting was just kind of something to write down something, and if it sounded good, you didn't have to really make a whole lot of sense, it seemed,
Yeah.
But I think Chris Christopherson changed all that for me,
Yeah.
And I went, man, this guy's putting together melodies and the words really actually mean something.
Real stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that, and then Guy Clark came along, and if it wasn't for those two guys, I would think I was a pretty good songwriter.
Yeah. Well, it's always interesting. I've talked to some of the songwriters you've had at your event. By the way, the event I'm talking about is a songwriter showcase. You're just finishing up the 14th annual songwriter showcase, where you've put out a lot of great artists into the public eye, and you've even told me about some that didn't actually end up winning that also ended up becoming really, really.
I don't necessarily think it's the winning is the end all for the songwriter showcase. It's just being in there, getting it. You've seen those kids come in, and the first time they perform, they've never performed in front of an audience that actually listens, and it scares the crap out of them. And just the confidence that they gain through that, they, winning something or even having one number one record doesn't make a career. It never will. You got to work your butt off to make things work, and sometimes the guy that doesn't win works a little harder.
Yeah.
So.
And there's a lot to work on, I guess, whenever you're doing it, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, there's, from the playing, I know playing is one thing, but I know you've made the comment that everybody can play at some point.
Yeah.
But it's really the story. But so how do you any advice for those folks that are out there that haven't had their dog run over or the truck, run into a tree and their wife leave them or whatever? Do you have to have drama to be able to write a song?
No, I mean, if you're a professional writer, you can write about pretty well anything. I do suggest you know what you're writing about. If you're talking about, going from Fort Worth to Midland, know how far it is from Fort Worth to Midland. That's a pretty simple explanation of but you have to know you must know what you're talking about. That's the easiest way to get busted. And as a songwriter, you really don't want to get busted. So do the research and find out.
Yeah. I'm amazed every time I hear a song. You would think after all these decades of songwriting and songs being produced that there'd be an end. That somebody, every tune you've heard, every story has been told, and yet it continues to surprise us, I think.
Man, Bo Moore surprised me the last Sunday with that one he did. It was, that subject has been written about many, many, many times, but he did it completely original, about, folks in heaven, and hopefully you'll hear that one a lot more. Yep. It's, I always think that too, but I've probably written 1,000 songs, and when I sit down with a couple of people and we start writing, we will come up with something just so original, and you go, man, how in the world can we keep doing this with all the songs that are written every single day? It's a lot of times just the words that you say will help define the melody. Like if you say up, you're probably going to go up a step. If you say down, you're probably going to go down a step. So just some of the words, that's very simplified, but some of the words will dictate how the melody goes. And it's, if you don't chase the rhyme, that's
hard.
It's hard to do, and it's young songwriters just try to. They have a rhyming dictionary, and they're all about the rhyme. The rhyme is the last thing you need to be concerned about. You write the song, and then, if it rhymes, okay. If it doesn't, that's fine.
Yeah. That's an interesting point, because I always go for the rhyme too when I'm thinking it in my head. And I don't know that it drives the song, but you're cognizant of it for sure. It has to be in there, and you want things to fit right in a world. But if you're not a songwriter like me, your world is a lot smaller. Yeah.
It's the rhyme is certainly not the most important thing. There are so many near rhymes that you can if you tell the story like you want to, you can make it seem like a rhyme. Like the first syllable of your two lines may be the rhyme. And when it's sung, you think it's a rhyme. There are a lot of examples of that, and I can't think of one right now that has and have. That's I've used that 2 or 3 times, or had, or it's that the first half of the
the inflection of your voice while you're saying it kind of makes that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It's basically it's a alliteration, but it acts as a rhyme at the end of a line.
I love it. There's so many words out there that also have impact, and when a 3-minute song, you kind of want to make an impact and tell a story.
So it's we call you got to put some furniture in your song.
Love it.
Literally, I mean, if you can put, a chair in there, if you can put, a couch, something like that. One of my favorite songs is Guy Clark wrote a song, put divan in it, and I had never heard of divan in a song.
Other than the one you drove to the, you drove in divan to the.
Yeah.
Well, Lloyd Maines said of you, he's as real as it gets. You've had a lot of opportunities to work with Lloyd Maines over the years, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Lloyd doesn't know what he's talking about, but no, Lloyd, I wouldn't have a career without Lloyd Maines. I mean, he's produced every one of my records. I don't know how many I've done, 8 or 10 of them, and I always bounce everything I do off of Lloyd, and he's he's been the constant through, I've known Lloyd for 40 years, so he's been the constant through all that, and probably the best musician I've ever met, too.
Yeah, wow. Well, interesting that you were talking about these influences that you've had, and not a single one of them sounded like what you kind of describe as coastal and Western. How did that come to be?
Quite by accident.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked the beach, but I went down. I can't even remember when it was, but we went down, and we weren't staying in Port Aransas, but a friend of mine had a condo at North Padre, which is about 30 miles from Port A, and went down and stayed there, and I wrote My Kind of Day on Padre, and I think I wrote Meet Me Down in Corpus somewhere along in there. And Gary P. Heard both of those, and he said, "Man, I'm putting those on a record." And I thought, "Dang, this was easy. That was easy. Man. Go back and write some more." And so I went back, and it became a lot harder to write something that wasn't trite or the sound manufactured. So I made the mistake of hanging out down there for a long time, up and down the coast, and really studying the coast, learning the terms, sailing and fishing and whatever else I could do, and through doing that, I became familiar enough with it to write about it, which goes back to, write what you know. Learn it before you put it down on paper,
So it's good you weren't backpacking through the Himalayas or
Exactly.
something. Yeah, okay.
Real good.
Well, a little earlier you mentioned several people that were influences, and I know one was Jerry Jeff Walker.
Yeah.
He said of you, Larry Joe Taylor is the Jimmy Buffett of Texas. He's learned to survive by grinding it out, doing whatever it takes to keep himself viable, connecting with his fans, and working his ass off, to be fair. I've seen that of you. You are you epitomize connection with your fans.
Well, yeah, that's I'm a fan of music, and I understand the fan. At our festivals, I always go out front before anybody gets theirs. Can you see from here what kind of problem is there? Is there a porta potty close to you? Which is very important for a fan.
Absolutely.
Is there a concession stand close? That's real important. Jerry Jeff was a huge influence on me, and we became friends. We used to go down to his house in Belize. We go down. I think we did it for 9 years straight in October and watched the World Series. We're both big baseball fans. He was a Yankee fan. I'm an Astros fan. But, so we'd put all that aside though, and we watched it on this little 19-inch TV down in Belize, and half the time we're watching and the electricity goes off, So, but Jerry Jeff loved to holler at the TV, when baseball's on, show the field alignment. Yeah, don't show the. You've shown those people 3 times in this thing, and just get all worked up, But we had the best time, and I couldn't wait for him to call. We might not talk to each other for 3 or 4 months, and you could call up and say, "Hey, man, you going this year?" I said, "Yeah." So it's a lot of good memories from that time.
Well, there's a song in that too, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yep. I love that. Well, we're gonna take a break from some of the hard questions and ask you some fun ones. We have a little thing called the 254, our little game show we do. It's everybody's favorite game show, it turns out. So yeah. So this is something that you get to be a part of, and only one of the first ones, right, Riley? All right. So 254, I don't know what it means. We change it up every time. It's something like 2 minutes, 5 questions, and for everybody to listen and judge us on it, I guess. All right.
It's also the area code.
It is, and the number of counties in the state of Texas. All good. All right, 254. Here we go. Got the clock started. Here we go. Number 1. What's your favorite song that's not your own?
Ooh, man.
Start you off hard.
Fine. Going through the Rolodex.
More songs.
There's definitely one, and I think through the years, I can remember the first time I heard it, and it's still just that L.A. Freeway.
L.A. Freeway.
And the first time I heard it was the Kerrville Folk Festival, and Jerry Jeff was singing it, and he brought Guy Clark out, and I don't guess anybody had ever really heard Guy Clark much until then, but. Yeah. I just remember him coming out and he blew me away, sang the last verse on it, blew me away. But I'd still like playing it.
There you go.
It's a complete song.
Makes it even better whenever you can. Yeah, I love those when you can hear them over and over and you still want to hear them again. Yeah. Those are awesome songs. All right, besides the beach, which I know you're a big fan of, what's another place you'd like to vacation?
The other beach.
Yeah, the other beach. Great answer.
I don't know. Every time we go, I mean, we used to go to Red River some. We used to have a music festival out there, but I never really. I'm not a mountain person. Yeah. I'm a beach. I like islands. I like sailing. I like I like everything about the water. So
yeah, you like putting on that Speedo and going out
there. Yeah, you bet.
All right, question 3. Besides me, have you ever banned an artist from coming back to perform?
A couple, yeah.
And you don't have to name names unless you want to, which we'd love to have. But if not, why would they have been banned?
Well, one of them lit a guitar on fire on stage with gasoline, and that ended his festival career. And one of them threw a bottle into the audience. So both those guys are not welcome. But we got that's the only two, and we've had probably in 34 years I would hate to probably 1,500 different,
Wow.
And two out of that's a pretty good track record.
That is pretty good, that's for sure. Number 4, if you weren't a musician, what other vocation would you have?
Man, I've never thought about that. And
a big part of your life already, huh?
I tell you, we talk about this. I talk about with young songwriters and stuff. If you have a plan B, you're probably not going to make it. Because if you have something to fall back on, you're probably going to fall back on it because it gets tough. There's not one person in this business that hadn't thought about and prayed to quit. But I just don't think you can quit. I think this business will quit you before you quit this business. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I haven't even thought about it. I don't allow myself to think about it. This is what I do.
Yeah. Well, and we're going to talk in a little bit, but you do so many different parts of it, and we're going to get into that. So that's pretty neat. Last question. All right. And I want you to repeat this and tell me your answer.
All right.
Okay. What I love about Stephenville is?
What I love about Stephenville is just about everything. The small town feel, the fact that we've Sherry and I have settled here and raised a family. And we have grandkids here, and Tarleton's been a huge part of our lives. I wouldn't trade Tarleton State University for any university or any relationship. But it's still. I'm proud that my grandson's going to Stephenville High School instead of somewhere else. And it's still a small town. It's getting bigger, but it's still a small town.
Yeah,
and I love it.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
As you know, we moved back and love every bit of it. So that's pretty awesome. You mentioned your son. You get to play, if we're talking about performing, kind of getting back into the question answer, you perform, and oftentimes behind you at the drum set is son Zach. What's it like performing with him?
Oh, it's great. I got this picture of my grandson when he was 9 or 10. He came out. It was right after COVID. He learned how to play guitar and wanted to sing, and somebody snapped a picture, and it was me and him singing on the same mic. And right behind was my son on drums, and that's still my favorite picture. 3 generations of it. But some musicians love the road, some hate the road. I love the road. Zach hates the road. Zach, if Zach could go play in one spot every night, he'd probably do that. Yeah. I mean, he has a love for music, but and I know a lot of musicians like this. Some of them become studio musicians. Some of them just go sell insurance. Listen, I'm not going on the road, and it's not for everybody. You know?
Well, and a lot of them, you mentioned a second vocation for a lot of these and a fallback plan. COVID kind of made a lot of people do that.
Yeah. That's that put a lot of musicians. It actually solidified the careers of a lot of musicians, though, that learned how to do podcasts and do those shows, pay-per-view shows, and so it shuffled the deck for sure with the musicians, but a lot of them came out better than they went into 2020. But if that's possible,
it's interesting. Is I've watched you on the stage for so many years, and I get great joy when you do it solo. But it seems like there's a little twinkle in your eye when you're doing collaborations with other artists. Oh yeah, talk about that a little bit.
Well, that goes back to the Jerry Jeff era, the Gonzo band. If you had been around Austin in the late '60s and '70s, if you went to the Broken Spoke, it might be Stephenville, Rusty Weir playing there. And maybe Jerry Jeff was at the Saxon Pub, and he got done early, and he would come over and sit in for a song with Rusty. And I just learned that way. And at our Fort Worth festival a few weeks ago, we were playing, and Django Walker, Jerry Jeff's son, I started doing LA Freeway, and out of the crowd, he just jumps up on the stage. Oh. So it's it's hereditary. Yeah. So it's cool to do something off the cuff too. That's what I like. Yeah. And my guys that play with me, they know. I never tell them we don't have a set list. They got to be prepared, got to be on their toes. We may do something we hadn't done in 20 years. We may do. Who knows? We may play something nobody knows.
Yeah. That could be fun too. Yeah, for sure. Are you working on any songs right now?
I just wrote one with Richard Lee and Presley Hale.
Yeah.
And she recorded it. I think it's probably going to be her next single. It's called "Don't Be So Hard on What's Left of My Heart." Oh. And it's really country. It's a cool song.
And that, she tends to folk it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Is it
no,
country?
This is straight. It is pure country.
Man, all right. I'm looking forward to that. I might make you play a chord or two of that. Hey, I did want to ask you, though, do you ever, with all these songs, I can listen to your songs all day long, and I think most people can, too. Is there ever a song that that people request of you that you just really don't want to play?
I don't.
get tired?
Yeah, I get a lot of requests for one called Kamikaze Cowgirl, and I don't like playing it because it's not fun to play. I think it's well written, and I had some success on that back in the '90s. In Europe, and also Americana was kind of coming along, and so it's, especially when I get out of state, people request that, and I do play it, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
Most of the time, when somebody requested one of mine, I said, "Yeah, I'd be glad to."
That's cool.
Some of them that have been recorded by other people, that I've forgotten them, and I don't play them enough to remember exactly how they go. So
Now, when you say that, you're talking about the words or like the chord play on the guitar?
some of the all of it. There's one called Road Trip that Gary P did, and then Josh Abbott did it. I wouldn't even start to know how to play it.
Well, you'll be glad to know, Road Trip, I used to do some announcing for baseball, and I actually had two versions of it. I had one with just you and had one with your collaborative partners there. And we played both of them. One's a little bit more upbeat, and one's a little, and so I can play it for you if you want. No, but do you prefer? Because I've seen you do both of these things. Do you prefer more of an acoustic set, or do you like a full band?
I like both.
Yeah.
In the right setting. I mean, you don't want to do an acoustic set when there's 5,000 people that have been there all day and had plenty to drink.
Right.
But
yeah, they want a little upbeat.
I love the theater setting, and I love the band setting too. So I wouldn't say it's probably 50-50. I wouldn't take it. Just depends on where you are.
We have lots of opportunities to see Larry Joe Taylor. There's things that you plan all year long, starting in January, coasting and cruising. You're about to have your 24th such event in February, the Fort Worth Music Festival, your fourth one of that, just finished up. March and April, you have this songwriter showcase we've referenced a little bit. I want to come back to that in a minute. Coming up soon, the Larry Joe Taylor Texas Music Festival, the 37th. We've referenced that several times, but that one we'll hit on in a little bit because you've got another outstanding lineup we want to talk about. July 4th, you're always at concerts in the park and doing things with that. We talked to Doug Montgomery a little bit ago, and Doug's had quite an influence.
He has. I think it's 22, 23 years that we've done 4th of July in the park.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Never gets old.
No.
Never gets old. July and into August with Picking at Possum. That's your 5th one that you're going to have this year. October, Rhymes and Vines, your 21st of those.
Oof.
Yeah, I know. I'll tell you what. And then in December, Merry Mountain Christmas. Be your second one of those. And along the way through many of these, you have elements of those events that have a charity event attached to it. Tell us about that.
Well, my friend Richard Lee was a foster kid, and I spent a lot of time with him. He's written 10 number one hits. "Don't Make My Brown Eyes Blue" was one of the 10 most performed songs of the last century, and he talks about how tough it is, not only growing up in a foster home and auditioning for new parents, because once you get a little older, it becomes a lot harder to get those new parents. But he said that the hardest thing is when you get out of high school and they kick you out of the foster home. You don't know how to rent an apartment. You have no concept of what to do, and that's what I love about the one in Stephenville is they've built these apartments next door, and these kids can live there very, very reasonably, and as long as they're working or going to college. And that's what I like to focus on is trying maybe more scholarships for those kids, or at least preparing them to leave the foster home because they take great care of them at the foster home.
They're phenomenal, and the fact that you have that heart is shows a lot about your character as well. Coming up, we mentioned the festival coming up in April, your 37th annual event, and one of your first guests said this about you, Larry Joe. Of all the songwriters I've had the privilege to work with, Larry Joe Taylor has made the most of the talent of his natural talent. Not only is he a great songwriter, his skills for production, promotion, and leadership are outstanding. And that's from Gary P. Nunn, who's going to open the show, or at least be your first day guest out there for the 37th annual. Your lineup is once again phenomenal. How do you? I bet nobody tells you no, do they? They just. This is unbelievable. What do you have, about 50, 55 acts?
Should be 50. We always say we got 50. We won't wind up with 51 or 52 probably. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Gary P. He was the first guy that ever. The first guy that said, "I like those songs. I want to record that." And I'd been writing songs for a while and just kind of putting them in a drawer somewhere. And he gave me a reason to start writing songs. And then soon after that, the Gonzo Band and Jerry Jeff but Gary was the one who said it's okay to record my songs. I think everybody had to hear that from him. Then they my phone started ringing, and Jerry Jeff goes, "Hey, play me some of your songs," and then Guy Clark, I was lucky enough to write with him through my success with Gary P. Mm-hmm. But I would say that I would not be in this business without Gary P. Nunn. And with that said, I don't know whether to hit him or hug him.
Well, I hope you hug him, because I know the rest of us would if he's had that much influence on you. Each and every night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and all the way through Saturday, you've got a lineup of some pretty big names, some new names as well. Yeah,
well, that's what we thrive on. Is this is a, when we say Texas Music Festival, it's not a Nashville thing. It's homegrown talent that we've pretty well raised from our songwriter showcase all the way from they start on the Allsup stage and then they open the stage and go all the way and then they graduate and go off and are very, very successful, which I'm really, really proud. I've always said the goal for any of these songwriters is for them to get too big to play our festival. And we've got more than a handful of them that have done exactly that.
Yeah. And a lot of them, though, got their start because of something that you said or did or helped support in their young careers.
Well, I'm not responsible for it, but, it's nobody, I can't take credit. They got a lot of talent.
Sure. Well, you got to be able to see that talent.
Exactly.
There's a lot of people with talent out there that never get seen.
Right.
So you provide a showcase and a place for them to perform, whether it's the Songwriter Showcase or one of these other events that you do throughout the year. You've got some great stories on people that have come through you and done just that.
We give them, an avenue, and then it's up to them to stay between the ditches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Producing a little bit for some folks. I know you got Presley Hale going right now. And is that something that's new for you? Have you been doing that a long time?
I've been doing it for a while. I don't know, probably more now than I was then. And I don't know that I'm torn about producing stuff because it is so tedious, and you just have to be there, just so tuned in, which is cool to do one day, but to stay that way for weeks on end really takes it out of you. Yeah. I'm not totally in love with all the music and the projects that I take on. I take on because I really, really like the music. Yeah. And I try to make it turn out as the songs turn out finished as good as they were written. So
right.
But I'm not to do it day in and day out, and just anybody that came along has the money. I wouldn't do it.
How does it work? This popped into my head when we were talking about the songwriting earlier, and I failed to ask you then. But so many times people, and we talked about the collaboration. You sit down with somebody, and an idea comes through, whatever. Are songwriters good with other songwriters, or is it in terms of I got this idea and I started out, and then somebody hears and they take it over and take credit for it? Whatever.
Yeah.
How does that work? And do they share credit?
Well, the old saying in Nashville used to be when songwriters did hang out a bit. The best way to clear a bar is songwriters is one guy says a really, really good line, and everybody goes, "Oh man, I got to go." And so there's 20 songs with that title the next day.
That's right.
No, I think the songwriting community is. I don't think there's competition. To me, they're probably there's probably guys that are fighting to get their stuff done a little more. But that's to me that's just good business. I don't stealing ideas. It's done, but not. I don't. To me, it's not widespread, especially in our community.
Yeah.
I can't really talk about other communities, but songwriting is. You want to collaborate because 3 people can write have more skills than. The total is greater than the sum.
Yeah.
Maybe have a really good guitar player and a good vocalist and then a good editor. And you put all 3 of those things together, you're going to come out with a good song.
Well, you've certainly come out with a lot of great songs that we enjoy listening to, and certainly the vibe that people have when they're around you. It's Larry Joe Taylor, his 37th annual Texas Music Festival occurring this April 20th through 25th. But the cool thing is it happens every year. So if you were listening to this after the fact that of this year's event, it keeps going. Where do you see it going from here? At some point, is this a continual forever and ever? Or do you have an inline, or what?
About this time of year, I go, this is it. This is actually, we didn't call it an annual event until I think it was the 7th one.
Mm-hmm.
I know we'd get done. I goes, no man, this is the last one I'm doing. And a couple of months later, we go, let's do it. Let's probably do it again. I don't know. I think we started this thing because there was no outlet for Texas guys. Basically, in the 80s, you had to go to Nashville. You had to go to Nashville and get a record deal, and you couldn't make a living in Texas playing music. And not because of us, but I think I'm not going to take credit for the whole thing, but we're a big reason why you can make a living playing music in Texas now. And I think, more guys from Texas are getting record deals, and so the time of a Discovery Festival may be nearing its end. You can discover online. Now you used to be man, I've never heard of one of these guys on there, but I'm going because I know it's going to be good. Cross Canadian, Randy Rogers, and and all these guys were just starting out, and you couldn't go online and listen to them. So I'm not, but we're not going to change it. We're not going to do anything. I don't know if it went away. It would not bother me. If it goes forever, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's almost to the end of why we started it. Now,
but it's morphing, and that's okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
We'll make it to 40, But at 40, I may go, see ya.
Well, this one is the Music Festival of the Year in the state of Texas. You're not slowing down at all. So this is actually a great thing. Tell me about that recognition.
That's the Texas radio, voted by Texas radio. We've actually won it, I think, 13 out of the last 16 years.
Fantastic.
But I will tell you this: it never, we never take it for granted, and it never gets old to be recognized for. It's a whole lot better than not being recognized.
A whole lot better. You beat out some pretty special folks too.
Yeah, well, you know,
There's a little thing down in Houston.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I didn't see that one coming. Just because of the sheer size of it. But I think the festival goers, the ones that do the camping, they're the ones that vote on this thing. So I guess as long as they like it, that's great.
Well, absolutely. They like that. They like you. They like the people that you bring. Seems like everybody that comes, whether you're an artist or you're a fan, they have a great time, and that's you treat your artists well.
Well, I'm a fan. I'm an artist, and so I know how to set up a backstage, and I know how to set up a front of stage. And we put a lot of time and thought into both of those things. So I want the artists to want to come back every year because they know exactly what they're going to get backstage.
Absolutely. Well, we're about to close out. I'd love for you to just play us out. But before you do, so think of something you might can play as we play out. But folks, I want you to always remember Larry Joe Taylor is probably the single biggest reason why music in Stephenville, Texas, and across this entire state has grown to the level that it has. It's an economic engine for the state. It's certainly something that has helped Stephenville get its name on the map, and it's because of you, my friend. We are very appreciative of the impact that you've had.
Well, thanks. It's been a pleasure so far.
So far, I love it. Just getting started, right? Well, when you become middle-aged, you might start thinking about your next step, right?
Yeah, middle-aged. Yeah.
You can move that around.
All right. Wow, this is going to work. Raise this up. You don't want to hear more guitar than me. Well, you mentioned, or I mentioned one that's one of my favorites. When I'm bagels and Airstream, all headed north of the line, friends and relation on a coastal vacation. I sure hope they've had a good time. Going back to the race, back to the place, up and down again, there's no doubt. It's the end of the season, that's pretty good reason for me to be headed down south, down to Laguna Madre, cruising over the causeway. There's nobody here, the coast is all clear. It's my kind of day on Padre.
Yeah.
7-Eleven is empty. There's no t-shirts for sale. The condos are clear, boarded their windows, ready for the wind's first gale. I guess I'm here 'cause I'm a nautical dreamer. I ain't got a boat, so I take the island, making friends with the seagulls, picking up seashells. Not another tourist for miles down at Laguna Madre, cruising over the causeway. There's nobody here, the coast is all clear. It's my kind of day on Padre.
That's awesome. I tell you what, we're so thankful for you, Larry. Thank you for coming on board here. This has been Connecting the Dots, and this is Larry Joe Taylor, Texas Music Festival every April, at least for the next 3 years, hopefully forever. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
No matter your age or your profession, it is likely that you spend at least part of your day listening to music. In your car, at the gym, in the elevator at work, maybe even between innings at the ballpark. Music surrounds us. It also controls us, or at least our mood. Think about how a party anthem gets us fired up for a sporting event, or how certain standards unite us. How many of us have gotten into our feels and needed a slow love song or even a sad song for that matter, just to set a vibe? Guys, I think we all have put on some slow grooving tunes in the background when we were courting our sweetie. Music truly adds the flavor to our lives. If we're being honest though, our feelings about musicians as adults are different than when we were younger. Sure, we all liked songs or entertainers we heard on the radio, and yes, we were not immune to running down to Hastings or our favorite record store to buy the new album, then 8-track, then cassette, then CD of our favorite artist. But that seemed a far cry from the unfairly judged band geeks or garage bands of our youth. Fast forward a few years, and who do we all want to be? Or at the very least, hang around? The musicians. From pro athletes to politicians to, well, just about every one of us, we love music, and we love the musicians that go along with it. Perhaps that has more to do with growing up. I think we secretly admire the talent our classmates had in our youth, but maybe they didn't have the polish or the confidence in a regular social environment. I mean, did any of us have that? As we all start to age, we develop a more consistent persona. And generally speaking, as real life smacks us squarely in our now clear-skinned face, we become a bit less judgy about people and begin to see the reality of their talent. Plus, access and choices have drastically changed over time. Around 120,000 new music tracks are uploaded to digital service providers daily. Instead of a Saturday run to the record store, we now stream our selections 24/7 and are not always bound to a 10 to 12 song album. You like one song? You can download one song. No worries. In fact, streaming services currently host more than 250 million tracks. Unfortunately, not a single one has been produced by your humble host. Perhaps of greater interest to this program is the financial impact of the music industry. In Texas alone, this sector accounts for almost $32 billion annually in economic activity, supporting approximately 200,000 jobs. Tax revenue alone adds well over $500 million in sales tax to the state's coffers. And as mentioned earlier, music is making an impact in many different areas, such as music education, and let's not forget the related tourism effect. I'm sure most of us can recall a moment where we traveled to see a new or favorite artist perform. We certainly see it in Stephenville, as we welcome folks to town frequently for the city's concerts in the park, performances on our university's campus, and let's not forget all of the great high school music-related events, which undoubtedly serve as an early spark for our loved ones' interest in pursuing music as a vocation. In 2018, Stephenville was awarded the designation as a certified Texas music-friendly community, just the sixth such community in the state to get this recognition from the governor's office. Today, there are more than 90 with this title and another 16 or so pending. You might as well just consider the entire state of Texas to be music-friendly, as one can find amazing entertainment opportunities all across the Lone Star State. Today's special guest, Larry Joe Taylor, has done just that and has become a true Texas legend. He's also a major contributor to the economic growth of our area, and I would argue that his influence has positively impacted many other towns and states across this great nation. His work goes far beyond singing and songwriting, as he has helped launch an impressive list of young artists by giving them a platform and support mechanism to kickstart or energize their careers. In the interview, we listed a year-long list of events produced by Larry Joe, which not only provide the entertainment value we as fans crave, but also access and a literal stage for musicians to connect with us. We jokingly discussed whether Texas Music Festival, now in its 37th year, would fade away or continue indefinitely. Well, Larry Joe, your events may come and go, but the impact your efforts have had on the hearts and in the financial growth of our community will last forever. That's Connecting the Dots. I'll see you at the concert.